AJ Brown got all that money in a Super Bowl ring. And you mean to tell me he's on an undefeated team and complaining? Yeah, he is, and he should be. I'll tell you why in just a second here on Locked On NFL.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, yeah, it is week 6. Is it week 6? Oh, no, it's week 5 in the National Football League. It's going so fast, I done lost track of it. I'm Tony Wiggins here with Locked On NFL, where we take you around the National Football League and use the local experts that have their finger on the pulse of the team that allows you to have all of the best information that you can get with each and every team from around the league with the use of those experts. And we have one here again today, a recurring expert, my man, Chris Cotter from Locked On Steelers. He's going to be with us and help us navigate some things around the league and give you his spill on what's going on in the National Football League. I got to let you know that wherever you get your podcast, make sure you tap in to make sure you don't miss an episode, a great episode like this one. Today on our network, it is the Crossover Thursday presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. We ain't crossing over here, but I am going to let you know that we thank you for listening to Locked On NFL, and a reminder that you can follow our shows and hear new episodes ad-free daily on Amazon Music, so go check that out. I'm going to let you know where we're going to end up, Chris and I. We're going to end up talking about John Harbaugh protecting his offensive coordinator. He should, because the defense is terrible. Can Jaden Daniels save DC if he comes back this weekend? We'll discuss that. But at the top, we're going to go ahead and talk about A.J. Brown. Chris, I know there's this thing that you shouldn't be complaining when you're winning, but you should be complaining when you're winning and you don't think it's sustainable. And when a guy makes the money that A.J. Brown makes and still wants to make sure he contributes, I ain't got no problem with it.
I think the thing is that this was a whole thing last year. This is not new. It was a whole thing years before that. Like AJ Brown is a guy who's going to complain and read books on the sideline when he feels like he's not getting used enough. But the Eagles have shown, as long as they're winning, it don't matter. Now, because last year, this was also a problem at certain points. Then they went on and won the Super Bowl because they were just playing so doggone good at all their positions, and A.J. Brown is still a primo number one wide receiver that you wanted to be able to depend upon. And as long as he can make plays when called upon, you're like, all right, we'll stomach this. But I think that's the thing, though, is that winning cures all. So long as you're winning, all the other stuff gets pushed back down, and even A.J. Brown's antics. And that's why I don't think he's getting traded. I don't think people are like, oh, this could be an opportunity for someone to do it. Trust me, because every Steelers fan, every time that there's a story about a wide receiver being unhappy, there's a Steelers fan. It's like, let's trade for him now. I don't think A.J. Brown's going anywhere, unless the only way he is if the Eagles fall off a cliff. Like if you just see them just tank, and I think that's the that was part of the plan there. But I look at A.J. Brown. I don't think this is something that's going to be that big of a deal right now. It will become a big deal if the Eagles do run into some adversity and A.J. Brown isn't getting used, and then how they respond to that. But again, they handled it well last year because they ran into some adversity. He made some comments, and there was a lot of talk there. They rebounded because they were the best team in football in the best part of the year for it. So I don't think this is as big a deal.
I don't think it's a big deal either. And Louis agrees with you. Louis DiBiase from Locked On News. He says AJ ain't going anywhere. Listen to this.
Phew. Okay. More A.J. Brown drama resolved 3 years in a row. He still wants to be here. Not going to lie, I was a little bit worried about what he was going to say today after that vague social media post about potentially wanting to be out. We knew Brown was frustrated with his role through the first month of the season, but he did clarify today that he let his frustrations get the best of him with that social media post. He clarified that no, it was not directed at Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, or anybody in the building, and that he does want to be in Philadelphia. It's his home. He just wants the ball to help the offense get going. And again, like I've said on the show for multiple days now, he is totally within his right to be frustrated, wanting the ball, especially with the way this offense is sputtering week in and week out on a consistent basis. But again, when you portray a message the way he did so vaguely, it puts words in your mouth that allows others to speak for you, and then you have to clarify what you meant later on, and that can cause issues with teammates. So moving forward, keep it in-house.
Yeah, you got to keep it in-house, and the optics of it isn't good. But maybe this is the only way they respond. I think AJ's the dude that probably keeps going to them saying this. And granted, I'll tell you a quick story. Jimmy Smith, I did radio once. Jimmy Smith once told me that he caught a touchdown pass from Mark Brunell. They got to the sideline, and Keenan McCardell, who was his running mate, and they were very good friends. And Keenan is a very good wide receiver coach, as you know, with the Vikings. Keenan went to Mark and said, "Hey, I was open." All wide receivers think they're open, man. Even when something good happens for the other guy, but when the offense is sputtering, what happens is people look and say, "We're paying AJ Brown all that money, and all he does is catch 2 passes for 19 yards." See, that's the other side of this that we don't talk about very much.
Yeah, I think that, look, there's going to be complaints. Like there's every great team has people on it that are not, in full lockstep with everything and buttoning up their shirts the right way and doing things. There's going to be guys that vocalize things, but when you think you're that good of a team, and the Eagles have been that good of a team, you can stomach those things. You can power through, because again, winning's going to cure all things, because everyone's going to be like, hey, at the end of the day, you're winning football games, and you won a Super Bowl last year. That's what I think that this is going to come down to for the Eagles. If this will all blow over if the Eagles just keep winning. But if I promise you, if the Eagles run and hit a rut like they did a couple years ago when they fired their offensive defensive coordinators, and Nick Sirianni was being laughed at and said that, oh man, he's on the hot seat, this will bring itself up in an ugly way. You want these things to stay away, but again, they're not having that problem right now, so that's not gonna be an issue for the Eagles right away. But certainly, I think as the year goes on, it'll be interesting. Does AJ Brown get his targets? Does things like that happen? And then does he make more comments? Because again, he's apologizing and he says, "Oh, I need to keep it in house." This isn't anything new. He's been doing this for years.
Read books.
Yeah, it's
he's gonna have a college degree soon if he keeps. I mean, he does this, man. He might have a master's degree sitting over there on that bench, Chris.
But that's the thing, is that like he's done this for years, and people have always known this about him. But the Eagles are like, "Hey, you're that good. We want to keep you in the focus here, because we know when Jalen Hurts needs a big play, he can go to you and you can make it." Right. So I think the Eagles know what they're signing up for. He knows what he's signing up for, and they're making it work right now. But if this boils up and there's pressure applied and it leads to it not working out, that'll then be the story. But right now, they seem to be a fit for each other, even when it seems like, on the outside looking in, like, oh no, there's definitely problems there. I think the problems are not as big as they're made out to be right now.
Yeah, I do too. Just always gives us something good to talk about. It just kills me when fans go, "You got your money, man, and just chill out." And some people are driven by more than that. Yeah, he's got his money and he's got his ring, but maybe this dude is also chasing the legacy. Or maybe he just feels like if they feature him the way they pay him to be featured, that they'll have it easier to be better, and these games won't be closer. Everything ain't always about guys being selfish, man. We'll talk about somebody else that their team needs them, and we saw that in the last couple of weeks. Jaden Daniels is very, very much needed in Washington. They're 1-1 since he's been gone, but it doesn't really look the same. We'll talk about Jaden Daniels and his chances of coming back, and is it too risky to bring him back right now? We'll discuss that and more here on Locked On NFL. All right, first, we got to let you know that today's show is sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel, and NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets, or $300 in bonus bets if you win that bet. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I would not bet against an angry football team, and teams that are angry are teams that have been losing games that they shouldn't have lost. That being said, the Colts might be an upset alert this week and beat whoever lines up in front of them, because they pretty much had that game with the Rams in hand, but they lost it. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by Mazda. Man, listen to me. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers convenience with every ride, with more IIHS Plus Safety Pick awards than anyone else. As of August 2025, from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can also make every drive feel like anything but an everyday drive, from smooth handling with intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV. You can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Rolling along here with my main man, Chris Cotter, Locked On Steelers. We're going to talk about the Washington Commanders, and Jaden Daniels has been out. Marcus Mariota has been playing for him. I don't necessarily think Mariota is the problem, why they did not play well last week. They got a lot of issues, but they did make a little bit of a comeback and tried to make the game interesting. But you think if they get Jaden Daniels back, then that'll put them over the top, and they'll start looking like the team that everyone thought that they would be. But there's some people that think that Jaden Daniels shouldn't rush back. Listen to the Squad Show from DC.
It makes me so damn nervous. I'm scarred. I get so nervous when he runs the football and takes a hit. I know he got bigger. I know he's got plenty, he's gained so much more muscle and he's stronger. I don't care. You don't want to take away. And I think that's really one of the hard things. And we see it all around the NFL with a Josh Allen, with a Lamar Jackson. Name your quarterback that's really athletic that can run with the football. There's this extra layer of weapon that you have, but there's also an extra layer of risk that you have to kind of balance out when a quarterback can run the football that way. And look, Josh Allen's just a bigger guy. He's been in the league longer. He's more developed physically than where Jaden Daniels is, even with the improvement. Look how much Lamar Jackson has just developed physically over the years in the NFL too. You don't take it away from Jaden Daniels, but you do have to be careful that it's not a situation where he's getting put in these spots where you're putting his health at risk because he's getting popped. Some of it's decision-making, running out of bounds, sliding, making those right calls, but some of it is also the play calling that's on top of that, where you do.
All right, so one of the biggest misconceptions about running quarterbacks is when they do get hurt, that they get hurt running. You know where most quarterbacks get hurt? In the pocket. Look no further than Joe Burrow. Look no further than RG3 back in the day. Look no further than a lot of guys. Tom Brady, he wasn't a running quarterback, but he got hurt in the pocket. Trevor Lawrence has gotten hurt and had season-ending injuries in the pocket. I understand the sentiment, especially when you talk about designed runs. I think those designed runs where they take hits, to me, it's hustling backwards, because they're going to take hits when they don't run. You don't, by design, put them in a situation where they're going to get hit. But quarterbacks don't usually get hurt while they're running. They get hurt while they're standing.
And I think that's the thing here is, do they feel like they can protect Jaden Daniels when he's in the pocket and he's making a decision and he's going through his reads? That's what you want to be sure of here. Right now, the Commanders have given up 10 sacks on the season. Bottom half of the league, not overall terrible, but could be better there. That's the big thing to be concerned about. And like you said, Joe Burrow, that's the thing that I was concerned about Joe Burrow going into the season. I said the Bengals did not invest in their offensive line the way they needed to. I said that, look, Joe Burrow did a great job dodging sacks last year. He was going to have to do another elite job of doing that this year. And lo and behold, he's missing 3 months. So I think that's the big concern here. Can the Commanders hold up in protection? The best runners know how to protect themselves too. Look at Lamar Jackson, man. He's got this hamstring injury. That's the extent of where, how much he gets hurt. He doesn't, whenever he runs, it's not him taking hits. He knows how to protect himself. He knows how to get out of bounds. He knows how to get down just in time. It's one of the more things I'm really impressed about him, by him. Josh Allen's a guy that he'll run through guys, and he'll and sometimes I think, that looks more dangerous. But again, he takes it very well. He keeps it moving. So for Jaden Daniels, I'm less concerned about the running part, but more about, can they protect him in the pocket? Can he cycle through his reads on time? And, does he lose the chemistry and rhythm that he had in the offense before? And if he does, what does that look like? Can the Commanders' offensive line protect him? All those things I think are going to be a big thing to watch this week, because the Commanders, they got the Chargers coming up. The Chargers, they know how to get after the quarterback.
They do, and Dan Henley is a very, very good player. You know about linebackers. You cover Pittsburgh. Dan Henley can go. He's sideline to sideline, man. He is a pure thumper. We mentioned a lot of players. There's a team in Nashville that needs a whole bunch of those. They also going to need a coach. If you listen to Tyler Rowland here from Locked On Titans. You got to be careful what you wish for. My man Tyler wanted Mike Vrabel out of there a few years ago. Oh, well, it ain't turned out too good. Listen to Tyler right now.
Listen, folks, it is time for change. The Titans are 0-4. Things are as bad as they could possibly be. There is nothing to lose. Changes need to be made. And I want to start with helping Cam Ward. Schematically on offense, the Titans need to move the pocket more. They need to use more play action. Only 19% play action last week against the Texans. That is not good enough. They need to hit quicker screens. Stop with these slow developing run plays and these screens and these throwbacks that take so long. They are not working. This offense has to hit quicker. Also, where's the RPO action? I thought that that's something that the Titans hid in the preseason and would pop up in the regular season, but we haven't seen any true RPO game to help Cam Ward feel comfortable whatsoever. Not only that, moving away from the stuff on offense that we talk about, like play action and pocket movement and quicker screens and all that. What about getting Gunnar Helm more into the game? Chikakonkwo can.
Listen, man, when you start calling for rookie tight ends and RPOs and all of this stuff, I'm just reminded of the fact that they thought Mike Vrabel was archaic in his approach to offense. Play calling ain't the only thing that makes a football team good. I have been yelling that from the top of the building, and people won't listen. And you learn your lesson when you get a coach like Brian Callahan. And they need a whole bunch of new everything in Tennessee.
But that's what they knew was going on, right? They were last in division in Callahan's first year, last in division so far this year. You don't just jettison a head coach right away. You got to give him time to cook. I know the Steelers haven't been, Super Bowl champions, since 2009, but that's how that they've been relevant for so long, is that they give their coaches time to work things out. Bill Cowher, if they had jettisoned him after his first few rough seasons in the late 90s, he never would have won a Super Bowl champion. Who knows where Ben Roethlisberger would have ended up? I think that's what they're doing right now with Mike Tomlin. They're saying, hey, you've never had a losing season. I know that the playoff drought is now at 8 years, but at the same time, you're keeping the team together. They're still building something. There's new cores being developed right now. And I think you're seeing with Vrabel, he goes to New England. Oh, they're starting to become a competitor. You might have made a mistake. And I don't know. I'm not saying that I like Callahan or that I think that he is the guy, but I just think when you start to just get into firing guys, just to fire guys because things aren't working right now in the moment. Coaching is such an endeavor that is so much more complex than people realize, because I don't judge a coach. I don't judge coaching just based off, was this the right call for the right moment this one week? Because a lot of calls are guesses. And what I think where a coach can truly be evaluated is, do they develop cores of players? Do they develop, culture? Do they develop guys that they can reliably win games upon? And that's, to me, the essence of coaching. And yes, there's play calling that's involved there, but there's so many times that a play call that you call just happens to line up, and there's so much luck involved with those things. But when you do it consistently over time, and you can show, hey, this matched up here, and you're prepared in this situation, then you can say, okay, that's coaching. But when you're also dealing with a team that you inherited, in Vrabel's last season, they were last in the division. They had fallen off from being, winning the division back-to-back years, finishing second 1 year. And then in Vrabel's last year, they were falling off. They obviously needed to start to rebuild. And so Callahan, they knew he was taking on a project. He went 3-14 his first year. He's got a rookie quarterback. He's redeveloping, the offense and the defense. This was always going to take time. I'm not saying Brian Callahan is the future, but if you abandon him now, you're going to put yourself in the situation that the Panthers are in right now. The way David Tepper just turns through coaches before they get their feet settled. You gotta give coaches time to work, even if you don't like what they're doing. Give them time to figure things out, because oftentimes you'll see that okay, there's something working there. And after a few years, you see, hey, nothing's developing. There's no new core being put together. There's no players that are, that are improving, and the leaders on your team, the guys that you are investing in the long term, don't believe in the guy. Then you move on from the coach. But doing so quickly and just heinously, like just hurriedly, in the middle, in 4 games in his second season when he inherited a dumpster fire, I think that is such a big mistake, and would just further doom the Titans to be where they've been for most of their existence.
Yeah, we ain't, like you say, we're not co-signing for Brian Callahan, but we are co-signing a process. You go to the facility, I go to the facility, sometimes in our respective cities. The coaches are there before we get there, and they are when it's dark outside, they show up, and usually it's dark when they leave. Now, try this on for size. They play 17 games a season in the regular season. Half the time they're on offense, half the time we're on defense, right? So that's like, what, an hour and a half for 17 different weeks where they're play calling. They're usually at the facility more than 17 hours a day, 6 days a week. So they're doing a whole bunch of other things other than just dialing up plays. Sometimes the football gods work in our favor. Whenever one of the rival teams of the host that I'm sitting here talking to is struggling, it's always fun for me to watch them navigate through their opinions to see what's going on. And we're going to do that in just a second, because we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and their problems that they're having. And I'm sure Chris is just so sad about that. We'll talk about it in just a second here on Locked On NFL. All right, today's show sponsored and brought to you by Game Time. You guys, man, y'all know when it's time to get tickets, there's only one place to go. And the NFL season is back in full swing. And honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, prices jumping all over the place at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by Game Time's guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so that price doesn't change when it's time for you to pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals, and I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, moving along here with Chris Cotter. The Baltimore Ravens are having a little bit of trouble, and I'm sure we ain't going to get nobody from Pittsburgh crying about that. The defense looks atrocious, and it is not Baltimore Raven-like. But a lot of, after this last game, a lot of heat on Todd Monken and what they're doing offensively. It's a little weird to me, but that's okay. Kevin Oestreicher is going to talk about it first because John Harbaugh stuck up for his OC.
I get it. Like, Monken does deserve criticism. Like, it's true. But Monken also is far from the main problem when it comes to this team right now. I mean, look, some of the play calls weren't good. Some of the situational calls weren't good. Some of the situations that he put his guys in weren't good. Yes, that is all true. And I'm fine saying that. And I'm fine with Harbaugh acknowledging that. But it kind of just felt like, yeah, the way that we did things, but he wasn't putting himself in the we category. Like, that's what it kind of felt like to me.
Well, I did a show the other day, said maybe it's gotten so stale in Baltimore that they need to move on because they can't change the players. And Lamar Jackson did give him a vote of confidence a couple of years ago. And since then, they've lost all of these big games in a close manner until just the other day. But when I watch them play, it's the defense. Not only is it they scored 35 and then they scored 40 in another game and they lost. That ain't Todd Monken's fault. It's guys fumbling the ball at the wrong time and the defense being very, very porous.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Monken didn't tell Derrick Henry to fumble the ball against the Bills, and if he doesn't do that, maybe they win that game. They blew a big lead at the end of the game. Todd Monken also isn't coaching the defense that's giving up the most points in football right now, the second most yards in football right now. Yards not as big of a concern, but points absolutely a major concern because, and granted, they've played 3 elite offenses Bills, Lions, Chiefs, that's always going to factor in there. But I look at that as that's the biggest problem here, is that this is supposed to be a much more complete team for the Ravens. Look, Lamar Jackson, if he's going to be out for some time, that's going to sting because he's an MVP level quarterback, and anyone that you bring in isn't going to be able to replicate what he does. But this is supposed to be a team that was compounded with a really good defense, and they've been a really bad defense to start the season, and they just lost a huge player in Madubuike. If they don't figure things out soon, the Ravens defense is going to put them in a hole that's going to be really tough. They got the Texans this week, which they have a really good defense right now. Their offense isn't working so great. CJ Stroud's been struggling. Maybe this is a wake-up week for the Ravens defense. But that's where I'd be looking at things. I'm not looking at Todd Monken. I'm not big on trying to get rid, just pile things on John Harbaugh. Yes, I know that they've lost big games to really good teams the last few years, but they're 12-5 last year, 13-4 the year before that. And they've had some rough starts here and there, and they've bounced back. I think that the Ravens are a team that they have the superstar power with them right now. They just need to be healthy. They need to not fumble the ball. They need to trust Lamar Jackson. The one thing I will say Todd Monken can do is throughout a game when you're back and forth with another team, get the ball to Derrick Henry more.
Yeah.
Eight carries for 42 yards when he's averaging 5.3 yards per pop, and you're not getting him the ball and you're trying to work the ball to Justice Hill. I'm sorry. Get that ball to Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. That is the crux of your offense. That is where everything's built. When you get those things going, it makes it so much harder on a defense. And sometimes I do think the Ravens, in that respect, outsmart themselves. But right now is not a time to panic in Baltimore. Lock in, find some answers, gut out a win against the Texans, get to 2-3, and then you play the Rams. That's a really good game. That's really a team that'll be a tough one to pull up. But then you can get to the bye and just say, okay, reset everyone. Let's go show why we were a Super Bowl favorite going into the season.
Yep. And another team that was thought to be someone that may play for a Super Bowl is the 49ers. They play the Rams tonight, and the Rams are a serious Super Bowl contender. The only thing about this matchup is, even though it's a rivalry, it's not very sexy because one team is like the walking wounded. The 49ers, I thought the injuries were already bad when they played the Jaguars last week, but they're going to get a little worse because I think Brock Purdy has been ruled out. Here's my man Peacock talking about the 49ers.
If Brock Purdy looks worse than he looked last week physically, you can't let him make the call if he wants to run out there. He's like, I'm good, coach. I can play. We're going to play a different guy because you're not right, and we got to get you right if we're going to go anywhere this year. And so there needs to be some big boy conversations, and we'll see who actually gets out there and plays. But
yeah, man, you might as well sit him. I think for the 49ers, they're 3-1, dog. They might as well be 1-3. This season to me for them is about done.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Niners have had some bad injury luck, but it's starting to pile up year after year. Like you said, Brock Purdy out. Also, Jawan Jennings out. Ricky Pearsall out. They're just hurt all across the board, man. And it's going to start looking – you're going to start looking at – and Bosa's out for the season. You're going to start looking around and saying, like, man, what are the Niners? Because – they're either in the conference championship game or in the Super Bowl, or they're falling flat on their face. And if that turns into this season, which it looks like it might, I know they're 3-1 right now and things look great, but I have them losing this week significantly. But I think that if they come out with a losing season, this will be Kyle Shanahan's 5th losing season since he took over in 2017. And that's in a time where this was supposed to be their prime. This was supposed to be the rise of the Niners. They were going to finally get that 6th Super Bowl ring, tie the Steelers and the Patriots, and then maybe be the first franchise to reach 7. They're not looking like that right now. They're looking like they're falling apart at the seams, and injuries are part of it. But at the same time, you're supposed to have other things going for you right now, and they just don't. So the Niners, I'm not shocked that they're not doing well right now. I did not have them as a team that I thought was going to be that good this year.
No, I didn't either. And you get old, and then it makes people dig up stats like the ones you just did. It feels like Shanahan's won every year. Well, if they have a losing record this year, he would have had more losing seasons than winning seasons, and that's not a good thing. What is a good thing is you can tap in with Tyler Roll and the Madman early in the morning on Locked On NFL AM. And what you're going to get is a review of that Rams and 49ers game. Come back tomorrow during the barbershop. I'll be here with Matt Williamson from the Peacock and Williamson podcast to give you a forecast of everything that's going to happen this weekend, because that's what we do twice a day. Make sure you tap into the Locked On NFL podcast wherever you get your podcast. All right, we appreciate you. Chris Cotter and I are going to go get to it. We appreciate the 30 minutes you spent with us. We do not take your time for granted here. Enjoy the games this weekend.